Say it again.
Ready to tell people my opinion like it's truth.
Like it's truth, or that
Like,
it is truth?
like it's truth. It's not
Oh,
truth.
just
Nothing's
like
truth.
it's-
Yeah, nothing's truth. No, the way I present it is though this is the truth, but it's not. But people think that's the way I'm saying it, but I'm not.
Good morning to you two hooligans, fools.
What's up?
Good morning.
How are you? Happy freaking Tuesday. It's the
I'm
21st.
good. How are you?
I'm okay.
That's the question.
What was that saying that you said to me? Tell Paul what it was.
Which one?
I know there's a few. There was one that I hadn't heard of before, and I can't
Hitch in
remember.
my get along?
That's it.
What?
See?
Yes, I said I had a hitch in my get along.
Oh, I didn't understand any of the words.
And
you
I
said.
had a crick. I had a crick in my back
I've heard of that.
and a hitch in my get along.
Never heard that one before.
That means that you have a crick in your hip, and
Oh.
so it's a hitch in your get along.
Yeah, because your legs get you along.
Yeah.
All right.
It's crafty.
So, Paul's
like
heard
a-
of one, but not both. So,
Now I know.
I'm only half of an asshole, not a full asshole like
Well,
you
I didn't
thought
say
I
you were
was.
an asshole. I said you were a dumbass.
Oh, dumbass.
Oh.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
You were on last night with Michael Booton,
I was.
and you two sons of bitches were going at me once again about my mug and the fact that
Did he switch over yet, or is he still? Is this on a delay?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's showing his mug to the camera, but I don't know that. Oh, there it is. All right, cool.
Yeah.
what's the problem?
Well, it's kind of disgusting. It needs some bleach or effordent or something.
Efforted.
That's what my grandmother used to clean her teacups with.
Stop it.
Makes sense.
Yes, because it didn't compromise the whatever you want to call whatever that's made out of.
Huh.
Yeah.
Paul, not to speak for Paul, but Paul,
No, go ahead.
Paul looks at a mug like this, and he looks at the inside of this, and which looks like the inside of a toilet bowl that hasn't been washed in at least a decade. And he associates that with the sign of someone who is successful because they're busy. They're drinking a lot of coffee. They don't have time to rinse the cup out. It's a successful person, Paul. Is that what you were thinking?
It is now.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is now.
Exactly what he was thinking.
what I'm thinking.
It's not laziness. It's just busy.
What does it smell like?
It smells like
Smells like coffee.
It smells like some Black Stale coffee.
Do you don't put cream in it?
I used to.
Yeah, if you don't put cream in it, you might be able to get away with this without dying.
Yeah, it's well seasoned.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that. Raylene, how you doing? So what happened last night?
Well, we went over the agenda like we always do, and there are some things we showed everybody the ballot, what's on the ballot, explained the ballot, what you have to do. Make sure you print your name, sign your name, date it on the front.
Okay.
Black ink only, all of that. And we went through the ballot. And then we got in a pretty big discussion about the Barrie Partnership and the Barrie Area Development and what is coming down the pike for them. We talked about Article 7 and why we would like people to vote yes, because we feel it's important to the vitality of the city and to get things. We hear often people talk about Barrie's a ghost town and the old defunct Newberry building and this, that, and the other thing that we would like to change. But we haven't found a way to change that yet. And so maybe marketing the area sounds like a smart idea to do. That's what most people do is they advertise, correct?
Of course.
And so, and then we talked about the sale department partnership. Well, not the partnership, but the building that it's in, and how that would go, and their recent offer to the city to buy it, but the city has kind of put on the brakes for that, which again, they bring a lot to the city, and they bring a lot of people to the city to spend money here, and so again, a win-win. So, yeah, we got into that pretty deep, and we got into the fact that there are some that just don't support it, including the mayor and some people on city council, and it's kind of a shame. And then we did get into a discussion about berry values, and we talked about them a little bit. And I don't know. I as you know, I get a little bit heated when we talk about that, and I got heated, and I even said fuck, and then Michael eyes got big as saucers and said. Then he tells me that we are also streaming to CCVTV after the fact. But, you know, I told Tony I loved him at the end, so hopefully that makes up for my F-bomb. But he should have told me prior too. But anyways,
Yeah.
I get a little heated, and I, in a way, I did, not in a way, I did flat out call them out and say, here I am, take your best shot, because I just don't understand. I'm open. They're closed, not me. I don't belong to a closed group. My Facebook page is public. Aired Out's public. Barry Beats public. Barry City Community fan page is public. We don't vet. We don't, you know, if you don't align with us, you're not allowed to watch or, you know, no. If you really believe in your values that much, and you, then shout them from the rooftops. Don't hide, and don't make my life hell because I don't align with the same thing. I don't make your life hell because you don't agree with me. You know, why do that to people? I don't understand.
I gotcha.
That's not a value. And if that's value, if making people's lives miserable that don't agree with you is value, it's not a value I want. It's not the way I was raised or taught, and it's not what I want.
Paul and I are always talking about love and fear, and he's been teaching me an awful lot about this, and threatened to break both of my legs if I didn't go out and buy this book, A Radical Change.
Out of my love for that book, I threatened him with fear.
He did.
And it worked. He got the book.
It worked.
Yeah.
It absolutely worked. Gary Temple Bodley. And this is fantastic. I've just started. I've just scratching the surface, and this is amazing.
And I'm going to just tell you right now, he just started it. And next year, about this time, he'll be on chapter 2.
That's great.
Okay.
Progress.
I'm just telling you. Just letting you know right now.
It's fine.
We have 10 books over there with bookmarks in them.
That's the way I do it.
Yep.
I got a whole bunch of books. And when it's ready for me to pick up and read, I do.
When you mention it again and he remembers, he'll read a few pages.
Well, my approach to that, radical approach, no, I'm just kidding, to play on the word book title thing. So I read the 4 agreements, and then
Yes.
I immediately bought the 5th agreement, which is the next book they introduced on their agreement, and it sat on my shelf for about a year. And then finally, I picked it up and said, I'm going to read this now. And then I read it, and it was very powerful to me because it had been so long. I think if I'd read it right off, I hadn't been practicing the 4 agreements.
Then
and
you
so
wouldn't
I
have.
wouldn't have been able to appreciate it as much.
Yep.
So I needed to have that time. And so when I was ready to receive it, that's when it woke me up and said, hey, come
well,
read me.
that must be what happens with JD. He must decide that
He's tuned in. He's just following the flow.
and it's going to take, it's going to take a bit for him to get into these things. Yeah.
And then right after I read the 5th agreement is when a friend of mine introduced me to the Radical Change, and I was ready for it then. I was primed.
So this one right here that I'm holding in my hand is the 4 agreements.
That is.
This one is almost it's like impossible to put down. It's impossible.
Yeah, I think so.
I love this.
But a lot of people don't.
So you read the whole thing?
I have
that
not
one?
read the whole thing. It's impossible to put down, but I haven't read the whole thing.
Right, because
He just can't put it down.
put it down.
He just can't put it down.
Right, he just carries it in
Sitting
his
there holding
pocket.
it. He's always got it on him. I don't know why I
Right,
can't
he
put this
carries
down.
it in his pocket. He tells everybody to read it.
Yep.
I mean, you were just telling Craig the other day.
I've read half
You
of
started
it.
talking to him about it, and he said the 4 agreements. And then what did Craig say? I've read it like 4 or 5 times.
I know he has.
Yeah.
I've given you the gist of it.
Yeah.
Yes, you have.
I've talked about it enough with you.
Yes.
I feel like you understand the
I
4
got
agreements enough.
I got into the second one, and this is how it is. You understand? Come on.
Right. You have. I know you have a little, so
I'll
you have
just-
chaos.
I'll start to read, and you know, and then right away, Dad.
Yeah. That's why I don't read at home ever, because like everybody, they're all doing their thing, and I think, okay, now I can read. I'll grab a book, and as soon as I sit down, that's when someone comes over to me.
Yeah.
And I'll wait, and so it got to the point where I would wait half hour, an hour. Okay, I think they're occupied now.
Right, you hold the book.
Yeah, you wait and you wait and you wait, and then you say, okay, now I can start reading. As soon as you start reading, it doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour. As soon as you start, no matter how long you've waited watching them be completely engaged in something, the second you start doing something, then they come over. So
absolutely,
I just don't read at home anymore.
1,000%
Maybe
right.
you should read it to them.
No.
So I
that.
ask you, we talk about love and we talk about fear, which is what this one.
Well, that's the value that Raylene's saying, that if that's a value, if I don't want it, that's fear. I think that would be the way I would interpret what.
I don't
You're afraid of
interpret
other people's opinions. That's fear.
I'm not.
Not you. I'm saying they are. Yeah, the people
they
that you're talking about, whoever they are.
Yeah.
I don't know who they are in this case.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the Illuminati, right? That's who they usually are in my book.
I don't
The
know.
Illuminati, the Barry Illuminati.
But I ask you, all of the hearts that were taped all over the city, which Raylene and I haven't even had a chance to talk about, was that love or was that fear?
Depends. It depends on why they're doing it. If they're doing it for attention, then it could be out of fear. Oh, is it Raylene? Raylene's the one that's been doing that for the last 15 years?
No, I did not tape the hearts, but these hearts had a message, a political message. The ones that were taped in Barry, the ones that were taped up around Barry were stated a political.
What did it say?
Vote no for the school board, for the budget. Vote
on
no.
a heart.
Yeah.
On a heart.
Oh, they love you.
Yeah. And so it sucked that they brought the politics into to that.
That's why you don't take anything personally. Four agreements.
You know, it's everything, you know?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Right, but it would just be nice not to see it everywhere. You know,
sure,
it would
people
be
are
nice
terrified. People are terrified. They can't live unless everybody else agrees with them because they're deeply attached. So the 5 levels of attachments, next one, you got to buy, not be able to put down, and not read. You can read it. It's really good. Yeah. But so when you get to that deeper levels of attachment, you get to the point where if other people don't agree with my opinion, if the other people don't share the belief I have, that they're not good. And if they're not good, I can't be around them. And then you get to the deepest level of it, you become a fanatic, and you say, if they don't agree with my opinion, they don't have the same beliefs that I do, they don't deserve to live.
Yes.
Right. And I'm going to make their lives hell. I'm going to tell people not to watch them and don't endorse them and don't watch them and don't do this for them and try to shut their business down. And
then and if you get to that point, you're a slave to your beliefs. And you're no longer free.
A slave to your beliefs,
it's
and that's why they're talking in the mainstream. They're talking about making freedom a bad word.
And that's not
crazy.
This isn't just
freedom.
This isn't just Hitler from the 30s and 40s. This is still going on today.
No, this is literally right now.
Right now.
Yeah, there's a group. I don't know who's talking about it. Russell Brand was talking about it. He's saying that they're trying to make freedom like akin to fascism, and that's 1984. That's newspeak. That's taking a word and changing its meaning completely. The Ministry of Truth in the book,
George Orwell.
Yeah, Orwell. The Ministry of Truth. Their purpose was to lie and propaganda. But they call themselves the Ministry of Truth. And so that's the newspeak. It's when you take the meaning of a word and completely flip it upside down. And so by trying to say freedom is a bad word, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Well, and if I just feel like if walking around every day being exactly like everyone else and thinking like everyone else and not having an open mind or having the will to want to listen to you, want to listen to him, and talk about two opposite ends of any spectrum, the two of you. But if that is what's right, then I don't want to be right. Like I'm fine with being this way then, because it's just too much for me, and I just feel like if you really feel your values are that important, then you would want to share them with others and not
hide underground. Yeah.
You know, just then let's all talk about it and be open about it and
yeah.
There's nothing so dangerous it can't be discussed.
There's a lot of underground stuff going on, man.
Well,
there's a lot of polarization.
And I said last night too. I have a lot of I respect all of them, and I just ask that they give me the same respect. I respect that they have an opinion that doesn't align with mine.
Right.
some of them, some of their opinions do.
Yeah.
I know a couple of people in the Berry Values group that I actually have a lot of respect for, a deep amount of respect for. I've talked to them. They've made me see things maybe a little bit different. We've had conversations that I've sat back afterwards and said, yeah, I can see
Interesting.
where they're coming from. So I say, don't be underground. Be open.
Yeah, there's a beautiful shirt out there that we've seen before. Don't be a dick. And where are those? Can I buy one of those?
Of course
I
you
don't
can.
know.
When are we going to
We-
start
I can-
up our
we
t-shirt
can get you
company?
one. We can
like
get you
next
one
week.
made right at Yipe Stripes, one of our sponsors.
can we
if you
do
would
that?
like.
Can we do
Sure,
that?
I'll get you a shirt that says
Because
that.
Paul and I have been talking for years about starting up our own t-shirt business.
With like the little
matching
stick man.
socks.
Yeah.
See, the problem is that we've been talking about doing it in the future. There is no future. There's only now. So unless we just talk about doing it today, it'll never get done. So it's convenient to talk about doing something in the future. 'Cause
I'm going to read this
it's
book.
always the future. Exactly. Easy to say. And you will someday.
You watch,
But
mofo.
you're not gonna do it
I'm going to
tonight.
read this book, and when I'm done with it, I'm going to give you a thesis on
When
it.
you're done reading that book, you won't have any of this animosity that you're feeling right now. You'll have graduated beyond that. So you'll read the book and be like, yeah, I'm going to go show it. No, I'm not going to go show him.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
don't
gonna-
need to
I'm just going to be at peace now.
because I
Yeah.
don't need to.
Right. Whatever competition you're feeling right now won't exist.
We have an announcement here. A major winter storm is set to impact millions across the United States this week with heavy snow, dangerous winds, possible blizzard conditions, and the coldest temperatures of the season. Ba, ba, ba.
Colder than negative 20?
Right. Or
thought we
what
hit
did we
that.
have here just
Yeah,
a
we get
couple
negative
weeks
20.
ago? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 50 with the wind chill?
So, yeah, so we're going to beat that? We're going to beat that?
Yeah, I don't think so. I sure as hell hope not.
Yeah, I hope not too. We'll see.
Snow and rain has already started falling across the Pacific Northwest. So,
But if it does happen, we'll be right here for you
Yeah.
with updates from the city and letting you know what's happening
Sure.
as it's happening. And on that note, Thursday night, the all veterans meal at the American Legion has been
I
canceled.
saw that. Where did I
because of-
see it? On Aired Out.
Aired out. That's what I was
Because
gonna
Because
say.
who posted it?
Not me.
Raylene.
Because of incoming weather. They just want to make sure that all of their veterans and their family are safe, and they will reschedule. And as soon as they reschedule, we'll let you know.
All right.
But
Why-
tonight, they still are having the Tuesday night meal and bingo. And please,
at the American Legion.
yes, please call, order ahead for the meal. Just, reserve one so they know how many. And that starts at 5:30, dine in or take out, and then bingo at 6.
Yes, right after that.
Yes,
When's the weather start?
Tomorrow night.
not until tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wednesday
little
night.
squalls here and there today, but nothing major.
So tonight going to be blustery. We could get as much as 2 inches, Paul.
Wow. I'll
Tonight.
get my ruler out.
Then tomorrow.
JD can measure that right up for you.
Oh, boy. Tomorrow, on Wednesday. Will Tom Lozon be with us tomorrow morning?
I don't know.
Who
yet.
the hell knows?
It's tax season, man.
Yeah. Some sun, some clouds, mid-30s maybe in the southern part of the state. Then the winter storm watch Wednesday night through Thursday afternoon. Locally, Roger Hill is saying 2 to 4 inches accumulation. Just reading here, Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 to 4. 2 to 4. Can we handle that?
Yeah. The
And
map
then-
I saw said 12 to 18. But it was just like, it was an article map. I don't know if it was
Yeah,
even
I
current.
saw that too.
Are you seeing 12 to 18?
I was some article trying to
Well, it's going to be
doom
messy.
speak about the storm coming in.
Well, Roger's saying snow could be falling heavy at times Thursday, especially Wednesday night into Thursday. Maybe some sleet and some freezing rain into the mix, too. But this thing's going to be with us, it looks like, well into Friday, and maybe even Friday night at this point. Yeah, so total accumulation, Roger's now saying 6 to 10 by Friday night. By Friday night. Lily is so concerned about, will she ever be able to ride her dirt bike again? Will the snow ever melt? So, There's hope.
There is hope.
There's hope.
Yeah. You can give her some spring hope right over across the street, Nelson's Ace Hardware.
Yeah.
Who is
They sell
breaking out
spring?
all the seats and the little
see that?
pots and all of that good stuff that you can start your garden in the house right now.
Yes.
Pretty cool school project, during the winter break.
Absolutely.
Get them working.
Now, do
growing
they have-
those seeds.
They
have everything.
We've got plenty of the seeds, but they're like 15 years
They have
old.
the little pots, the soil, the fertilizers.
The
They have
grow-
everything.
Do they have the grow lights too for this kind of stuff
I don't know if they have grow lights,
over at Nelson's? Well,
but they probably do. They have those little greenhouses. Those little.
so what you're saying is, if you are feeling down, if you're discouraged that the winter's taking so long, and you need a breath of fresh air and some hope,
Right.
go to Nelson's,
Right.
because they're always ahead. They're always preparing for the next
Yes,
season.
Start up your little gardens right in the house.
What's-
Smell of fresh dirt.
Yes,
Right?
under the fingernails. Paul, what are you going to do this summer? What's on the plan for this
I have
summer?
no idea.
No idea.
Go outside and just do things.
Do you like to get out?
Yeah.
With your kids? And you have how many kids now?
17.
70. God, the last I knew there were like 6. Is it really up to
It's up
17
to
now?
17.
That's a lot of noise.
Sure, that's why I can't read books at home.
I don't blame you. Tell me about your music. You got something that's dropping here.
Yeah, yesterday I had a new album come out.
Tell
Called
me.
Me Right Now.
Tell.
This is 7 songs. This songs I've written since 2020. Because for last year I've been working on a lot of music recording and putting them out on streaming services and everything. And I did a lot of my old songs, so stuff I had written years and years ago. I just finished up 5 songs from around the 2010 era, and I just put those out last month. And then these 7 that I just released are all new from the last 3 years. And they're all drawn from like that. You hear Radical Change and Four Agreements and Joe Dispenza and all this kind of stuff, because I wrote the lyrics for these songs based on these things that I'm constantly listening to. And one of the songs I didn't have any lyrics for, so I needed to write lyrics for it. And so I put on an Alan Watts lecture on having fun, make work play.
Yeah.
And I wrote the lyrics just out of listening to that lecture. And so it's really fun. I like it. It's like it's all the stuff I talk about in counseling sessions and what I'm talking about with everybody. This is just all the stuff that interests me. So that's what I wrote lyrics about. So they're punk rock, or I don't know. I call it punk rock, but I don't think true music genreists call it punk rock.
There's some
but
pop sound in there, too.
yeah, it's pop punk. I don't know. I mean, that's what I like to listen to. So I think that's what I write. But I don't know. When I've done some, there's a website called Submit Hub. You can submit your song and then to like playlist curators and bloggers and stuff, and they review your song and determine if they want to share it. And the paid service is pretty cheap though, but they all say it's not punk. So I don't know
what the hell?
people think that everybody's got their own beliefs and they go off their own thing, and it's fine. And music is such a subjective thing anyway.
Sure,
you can have 100 people and none of them like your song, but it'll still be an awesome song. So it doesn't matter.
I thought you sounded like Rush.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, and
I'd never listened to Rush before you said that, and then I listened to him and I thought, all right, I'll take it.
you've dropped some of them on your page.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've
Yeah, I haven't
listened
put
to
stuff
them.
up, yep.
Yeah.
And a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm doing a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us, where do we find you on YouTube?
It's called Paul Brodie Music and Stuff. And then you search that, you'll probably find it.
Paul Brodie Music and
Stuff. Yeah.
And it's Brodie.
Yeah. There's a lot of other Paul Brodies out there. There's another Paul Brodie who writes books, and he writes books about like motivation and stuff like time management and things. And that's not me. And then there's a Paul Brodie who's a famous saxophone player, and that's not me either. But his name usually comes up first in the music searches, and then the book guy comes up first when you search on Amazon for my books. And then there's a Paul Brodie that does shoes or something. He's got, I think paulbrodie.com was the shoe guy. And then there's another Paul Brodie who does bikes. So I'm trying to get my name in the Paul Brodie ring.
You're
We
going
should
to
all
have to
band
put your
together.
middle initial in there or something.
Yeah, I
Just to make
do
it
that.
a little bit different.
I sign my name in my middle initial.
Or can you put like doctor?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Or,
Drop
or
that in
not,
there.
or
I'm not a
whatever.
doctor. Yeah,
Your,
well, I could put my degree or credentials after that. It's not,
I want to thank
that's
you.
not relative to my creative
Before
arts.
before I forget, and I know I will, I want to thank you for coming on with Rick Barnett the other day.
Yeah, that was fun.
Talking about mushrooms and psychedelics.
Yeah, we had a little. Be careful using that word. We had a little snafu. So, the show
because it's federally illegal. They don't want us to promote federally illegal stuff.
I think
Exactly.
so. So the show dropped. The show was live, but it did not drop. It did not post. It went into review, and I had to
Facebook prison.
I had to plead my case and say, this was with licensed providers, and it's currently before the legislature, and we were doing almost like an educational show, letting the public know about what's happening, what its uses are, plead my case, and it took a couple hours, and they released it. Yeah,
but Zuckerberg's a busy guy. He was sitting there drinking his coffee.
I know, and he was listening to that.
Listening.
And he spit out the coffee as he's drinking. He
couldn't believe it.
They're talking about what?
Yeah.
And he spit out his coffee all over his monitor.
He did.
And then he had to buy a new one, but they're disposable to him because he's got so much money.
True.
And Jeff Bezos just brought one right in for him personally delivered it to him. 'Cause that's what these guys do, right?
During his lunch break.
Yeah, Musk probably he went and picked up Bezos in his Tesla.
During his lunch break.
During his lunch break and drove it over to Zuckerberg because they're all buddies.
Yeah.
And they crossed across all of Bill Gates' farmland.
Of course that's what happened.
Yeah.
Because that's the reality.
Right.
So, yeah. So we got caught in the catch net, and they had to, wait a minute. Did they just say psychedelic mushrooms on the air? Bah, bah, bah.
Yeah. Are they questioning our authority?
Yes.
That's what it is. That's what it comes down to.
Of course.
See, you're on a playground and you're swinging. You're on the swing set. You're just playing. And then some group of kids comes over and says, we decided that we're going to raise the swings up 2 links on the chains. And you say, why? And say, we decided that. You say, who are you guys? We're the government. We're in charge of this playground. This is our playground. He said, no, it's not. You don't own this playground. And they say, yeah, we do. Now get off the swing. We're going to raise it up. And so you get off the swing because there are a bunch of them and you're scared of them, and they raise up the swing. So now you can't reach the swings anymore. So that's for your own good. You're too young to be on the swings. You shouldn't be on there in the first place.
They know better.
They know better.
Yeah.
And then you get older and you climb up on the swing. You can reach the swing again. And then they come through and say, you know what? We're just going to take the swings out.
Yeah.
We don't want them here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed to use them. And they just take the swings down. Why? Because they said so.
Right.
And who are they? They're just the bigger group of kids.
And you sent me, I can't remember the video that you sent me right after this about who that guy was that was talking. You sent me.
Terrence McKenna?
Yes. Have you seen that?
No.
About just how we can't talk about psychedelic mushrooms because that's a buzzword. It's like it's a big no-no.
Because it frees your brain.
I'm gonna have to plead my case for this show too.
Go ahead.
Keep saying it.
They can.
Yes, I know. We're making more work for Raylene now.
Well, I guess I'm not allowed on anymore.
And we said Zuckerberg too.
Censorship.
Oh God.
Yeah, we said all the name dropped them all.
Jeez. Surprised we're still on the air right now.
Surprised we're still alive.
Speaking of media and everything, the Supreme Court is hearing a couple of cases this week that could redefine the rules of online speech and content moderation. I don't know if you heard about these two cases.
I didn't, but I just saw it on Raylene's phone. My wife's watching the show. She said it feels like 17 sometimes, referring to the children count.
Oh, that's Kathy.
Yeah, that's my wife.
Okay. Yeah, apparently these cases deal with how social media companies have handled terrorist content.
Mm-hmm.
And they argue that the company should be held responsible for their algorithms. This is the Gonzalez versus Google Communications Decency Act. So that's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. They're supposed to have a ruling at some point this summer is when it's expected. So.
Oh, they've been censoring through algorithms and stuff for years. Google does it.
Yeah.
YouTube, it's all there. Facebook, and they've admitted to, and Twitter. I mean, all the whole Twitter files. If you've heard of that.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. All of this stuff.
Amazing.
And the FBI is involved with them. It's like these media companies are like a branch of the government.
Yeah, of course.
Well, and the CIA, Operation Mockingbird, was that what it was called?
I remember
the one?
that.
Years ago. And the guy's asking the CIA person, and he says, do you have operatives at the news agencies or something like that? And he said, yeah. This was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And then somebody, I forget the quote, but something like, "We'll know we've been successful when everything the American people believe is a lie."
Yeah. Yes. Who said that?
I don't remember. I think it was a CIA director.
Ugh.
I don't remember though.
Did you see?
If you type it into Google, it'll come up.
Did you guys see Biden's press conference the other day about the
I don't
the
watch
balloons?
any of that stuff.
I watched the commentary. I don't watch these things directly. I watch people's commentaries on them. So they'll show the clip and then they'll talk about it. I think that's more entertaining to me. But I saw part of that one, and I think I didn't catch the whole thing.
I did, however, see an article from the National Weather Service, which I posted, of them begging people not to shoot down their balloons.
Most
Because they don't
of
go
the
up
balloons
as
go high
far.
enough, I think.
They don't go up as far. They do.
I think
expand.
did you post that? Because I read something
They're
about
only
that too.
helium filled. They have a tail. So they look similar, but they have a tail. They described what all of the differences
But
are.
you can see them floating overhead.
Yes,
Yes.
you can. You can see them floating
Never seen them.
overhead because they can't go as high. They do expand as they go higher. They actually get bigger, but they're not too high that a high-powered rifle from the ground couldn't shoot them. And so they've had people shooting them down out of the sky, and
Looked like a buck to me.
then they cannot do. They're not collecting the data where they need to collect it because their balloons are getting shot out of the sky.
So a lot of
by
satellites are on
civilians.
balloons. Look up Satelloons. It's interesting. I don't know if it's real or not, but that's what the story.
Satelloons?
Yeah. Apparently, a lot of the what are called satellites are actually just like for telecommunications and stuff. They're on balloons.
Well, these
Nobody knows
are
about
the
it.
National Weather Service. They put that's how they measure humidity, barometric pressure, all kinds of different things. They only go up a certain number of feet and they travel. They can travel up to 200 miles though. And so there's several, like thousands of them released every day to measure all of this stuff.
That's amazing.
And people are shooting them out of the sky.
Yeah.
They're trying to save their country.
Yeah, just doing their civic duty,
Yes.
shooting
exactly.
down the invading Chinese forces.
Well, now anytime you see a balloon in the sky, hot air balloon, it could be rainbow. It
Well,
doesn't matter.
I'm sorry, but any
Doesn't matter.
dumbass that is willing to get in a balloon that is all white and go up in the air, I mean, you're just asking for trouble. If that thing is not have a huge wicker basket and is brightly
multicolored.
and you may even have to put stickers on it that says, I'm just checking the view. I don't know.
Yes.
But if you're that big of a dumbass to float yourself around in a big white balloon,
Have a big balloon that says recreational balloonist on the side of it. Mm-hmm. But then they'll still think it's the Chinese.
Right, because that's exactly what I would do.
Of course.
If I was trying to get by with my spy satellite, I would put this is not a spy satellite.
yeah.
Duh.
Wow.
Have you
my
seen the car?
God.
It just makes me. It reminds me of like the cars in Barry when it was. I think during one of the last presidential administrations, there were and during COVID, there were cars driving around that were out of state, and they would have a sign in the back window that says, "I'm a Vermonter. This is a rental, you asshole." Because people were being mean to people that were coming in, flocking here from other states,
Oh my
and
God.
so there were some of those cars driving around where people were literally putting notes in their window saying,
As if it matters if you live in Vermont or New Hampshire. Like,
"Well, no,
things
they
stop
were
at the
they were
border, like, you
Massachusetts,
see these,
New York,
like
things
floating in the air,
Florida,
and it stops at the border,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
on The Simpsons
you know."
when they had the flu come out of the box.
You know, if you were the Chinese, wouldn't you just come here, rent a car, put the tripod on the roof with the camera on there,
And
get
Sam
some
Google.
get some Google graphics, paste those all over the side of the car, and just drive around. Take pictures.
That's why a lot of the stuff that they tell us is going on probably is nonsense, because when you really think about it, we could do a whole lot better ourselves. We can get away, we could figure things out more. It's just, but people aren't paying attention.
Do you
so
think
just
we
sneak
should
that
have
in
shot the balloon down the second it came over Canada and crossed into the U.S.?
there. Why?
Well, because they're taking
They
pictures.
were watching it from the time it lifted off in China. Did you see that?
Right.
The United States government, I don't know, the DOD, whoever's watching it, they were watching the balloon take off in China, and they watched it the entire way
Did not know that. Are you shitting me right now?
No.
It's not.
He's not shitting me.
No.
I did not know that.
Right. No, most people don't because CNN's not going to talk about that.
Why did we wait?
They're best friends with China. These guys are all look. There's one world government. It's already there.
Are
This
they up
already
there,
exists.
Are they up there looking down to just to see what kind of inventory we have
You
for
want-
Chinese cars on
You
the
want my
on
craziest?
the
You want my
dealership?
craziest idea? Craziest idea? This isn't a. All right, you
They
want
wanna
it?
know
Now, you
how
gotta,
we're
you gotta say
growing
yes.
pot?
I can't give you my crazy idea unless you say yes. You have
This
to
is
consent
Paul
to this.
Brody, everyone.
Paul Brodie's craziest
buckle
idea.
up.
I don't
Buckle up.
believe anything. These are just I like to entertain all kinds of thoughts because it's entertaining to me.
I'm holding
okay,
on.
Hold on. So that balloon was a satellite. Probably Google, probably whoever. And for whatever reason, it's malfunctioning. It's floating lower than it's supposed to. They don't want you to know that satellites are on balloons. Okay, I'm telling you, crazy. This is a theory. This is a theory that's out there, and I've looked into it. I don't know. I'm not saying this is the case. I'm just saying there are people out there who believe this is the case, and I don't know. It could be true. But if there's satellites, they're supposed to be in space. What if they can't get there? What if they can't put them up there? And they tell you that they're up there, but they're not actually up there because they can't put them up there. So they put them on balloons. And when you get a small balloon the size of a car and it goes up 40,000, 50,000, I don't know how many
Is that why my straight talk is so shitty?
Because they shot your balloon down, yeah. I don't know.
Well, they talked about that in that article as well, that actually some balloons that are satellite balloons have been also taken out.
Well, right. So but they use telecommunications. They put them on balloons. So let's say one of these balloons starts to float lower, it's malfunctioning, and people see it, and they got to make up a story. They don't want you to know that all the satellites are up there on balloons. So they got to make up a story. Let's say China. China did it because they want to go to war with China. 2 weeks before the balloon was out, an Air Force general, maybe it was right around the same time, an Air Force general was saying, I think we'll be at war with China in 2025.
I do remember that.
So, and now they're talking about China's going to support Russia in their aggressions, whatever. Okay, so this is 1984. Read 1984. It's another book that you can pick up and never read, but you should read it. In that book, they're always at war. Every nation is at war all the time. And the lead character says, I don't know who we're at war with. It doesn't matter who we're at war with. As long as they've got an opponent, then they can keep the people afraid and divided and controlled and make money for themselves. They're making a lot of money off of war. I mean, look how much money we're sending over to Ukraine. Yeah, they're people, but so are all the people all the rest of the world. There's all kinds of people. How do we choose as a country? We don't have any say in it. But how do the politicians choose who they're going to send that aid to? Why Ukraine? And is it just a coincidence that Biden's son was over there and involved with them and had a job as a what was he doing over there? I don't remember. It's like some kind of CEO or something in some group in Ukraine, and he has no background of that. How did he get that position? Because his dad was vice president. You know, that was the whole Hunter Biden laptop thing that Twitter and Facebook blocked because the FBI told them to. Don't put this news out there 2 weeks before an election. And they did that. And that's all out there now. You can see this stuff. But they don't go back and report on it. And people don't go investigating and looking for this stuff. We're being lied to all the time. So what was it? It was a Chinese balloon? Sure, because that fits the narrative. We want to be aggressive at China. So let's say that it's a spy balloon. Even though they watched that thing come up, maybe it is.
It was two others, too, at the same time.
Yeah, and then one of them they described as a small metallic balloon. So I hear small metallic balloon, and what do I picture? A child's happy birthday balloon over Lake Huron or whatever. So some kid let go of his balloon outside of his party, and the thing flew up, and then they sent the Raptor out there to shoot it down with a $500,000 missile. Shoot some bullets at it. I don't know. It's all nonsense. All
we
this
used
stuff
to make
is a circus.
We used to make the lanterns at night
Yeah.
out of cleaners bags, McDonald's straws, and candles, and we had such a great time with that until one came down on a home not too far from my house.
Yikes.
Back in the 80s and almost burned the house down.
Yeah.
Then that's when my dad was like, "Okay, we're done making.
We're done making
balloons."
fire bombs. Isn't that what they did that in Japan in World War II, didn't they? They lit pigeons on fire or something and set them out. No, bats. They put incendiary devices on bats.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, they were tested it out or they did it. I don't remember if they actually did it, but I think it might have been one of the things that they tested out. I saw it on Modern Marvels or something.
Raylene is adjusting her ass on the seat because she took a bad tumbler.
Yeah, like seriously, you
Got
guys
hammered.
are going to need a crane
got
to
a
get
hitch
me
in her
out of this chair.
She's got a hitch in the get up.
Right?
Hitch
Yeah.
in my
Or
get along.
Get
along.
along.
Oh, no, get along.
Get along.
Oh.
You said get up.
Oh, we can't say get up
Way
on
off.
the air. Right.
That was
You
way
can't say
off.
that on TV.
Yeah, she got hammered. Went
Oh
out.
my God, I did not, you ass. I was.
Why are you so defensive?
Listen.
Yeah, why are you so
because
defensive?
I think
that's just terrible.
we judge it. We
I
take
was
personally
going
things
to
that
a
we already judge
funeral.
about ourselves.
I was going
Anyone
to
who
a
defends
funeral.
themselves like this is obviously guilty.
Guilty,
Oh, I was
absolutely.
not hammered. Oh, I was not.
Because you're telling fibs now, and that's not
Oh,
nice.
we're just being entertainers.
It's the
that's
reality
all.
in my mind. Okay, if I say you were hammered, you were hammered.
Yeah, in his
Yeah.
perception, you are. That's why you
love.
don't take it personally because
I
it's,
say
his,
it with
it's his
love.
crazy world.
Okay.
It's his reality.
Okay.
In his reality, you're
Now
hammered.
you're going
Who cares?
way too far out for me,
part of
and
the four
it's
agreements.
getting
Part of the four
and now
agreements. That's
you're
exactly what
annoying
Don
me.
Miguel Reviews was talking about.
What
now
happened?
you're annoying me.
What happened?
Why are you taking it so personally? Just
What
take it
happened?
personally.
I know
Because
she's-
I'm not
it's
gonna let it
getting
go.
loud and like, ah!
What happened?
And then it gives me like
Don't rent that
extreme
space.
anxiety.
Center yourself.
She
I
fell.
can't.
She
I
took a
fell
bad
and I
fall.
got really hurt, like badly
Bad.
hurt. I
For real.
Yeah, like
Went down on the ice,
knocked out cold.
Oh wow.
hit the
Check
head
for a
bad.
concussion. Black and blue from my shoulders to my back of my knees. Like, yeah, it was a nasty fall on the ice.
And I'll say that if my fall was half as bad as hers, I wouldn't be here this morning. I'll say that.
You
I
wouldn't be
did
here, you wouldn't be alive.
did take a couple of days. I was doing the heat and ice rotation and the Tylenol and Advil rotation, and yeah,
So,
it's
you're-
and now it's just like I feel like it's just really a lot of stiffness.
Well,
and
this-
of course, black and blues hurt.
This ice has been horrible. I mean, my driveway is like, you're on the grass for 1 second and then you're half on your ass. You're
I
lucky
was
that
late
you.
too, and I couldn't really, you know how like the street lights will make something look really wet and
Oh, yeah.
glossy, and then there's a shadow, and then you don't see. And so it was kind of hard to know what was actually wet and what was ice. You
Yeah.
couldn't really see. Yeah,
Sure. You're
Yeah.
lucky that you didn't break a hip. I'm serious.
I know. And what did you tell me about that? Because once you break a hip, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
It's over once you break your hip.
Well, kind of.
Now that you're 50, once you break your hip, it's over. But yeah, it was.
No, if you break a hip and go to a nursing home, then it's over.
Yeah, then it's over.
It's really over.
But it was not pleasant. It's still not pleasant. Last night after being here, I was like, oh my gosh, it took me like 5 minutes to get out of this chair.
Did you get a little going?
No,
Help you with some pain?
no, I didn't smoke any pot last night
Psychedelic
at all.
mushrooms?
No, I did not smoke last night. But this weekend, I did use some edibles
Okay.
just to yep, so I could sleep.
She just admitted on the air that she's
using
illegal.
No, they're
legal
legal. They're legal.
purchase from the dispensary.
Exactly.
I'm just trying to create shit. That's all.
Yeah, but they did help, and I liked that they were knowledgeable enough for me to talk to them about it, tell them what I needed, what was going on, and say, well, no, you don't. Because I didn't want to get I wasn't looking at it to have a high, fun high. I wanted to rest. I wanted to be able to sleep, which is what normally happens to me, anyways.
Sure. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just super stiff. I get sore. That's all.
Yeah, especially sitting in those chairs.
Yeah, these chairs suck. I mean, we've known that always anyways. We've known since we got these things that they fit really nicely in this window and they work because of their size, but they suck. They are hard as a rock and they're terrible.
Paul is so excited.
They probably even make Paul's ass hurt and he's not even got black and blues.
is-
They make my back hurt.
Yeah.
The way I got
They do.
I got to adjust. I mean, it's not hurt, but it's uncomfortable. Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
the most comfortable chairs ever. But
Cities
I
around the
slouch
world
always, so.
today are celebrating Mardi Gras today, the final day before the Christian fasting and religious observance period of Lent.
is that what that's about? I don't know.
It's
I've
called
probably heard that
Fat
before. I don't pay
Tuesday,
attention to it. Yeah.
and it's
So
today.
it's just go all out and do anything you possibly can before you observe some kind of
Thus the word fat,
responsibility in your life.
which for me I call Monday or Thursday.
Well, today's Taco Tuesday.
Oh my God! Yes, it is over at Gusto's. I
Over
was there
at
for brunch,
Gusto's.
by the way. I went to brunch
Yeah,
Oh my God!
I've heard that it's incredible. I was supposed to go this Sunday, but as you know, didn't do anything.
I had. I'm not
Hey,
kidding.
you were baked on edibles.
Yes,
that's
actually,
right.
I was.
I had a Bloody Mary with Tito's.
Oh gosh, that must have been the best.
It's 11
Tito's
o'clock
is
Sunday
the best.
morning. I haven't had any breakfast. Okay, nothing. 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm over at Gusto's. I get a huge Bloody Mary put in front of me. One sip, hammered. I'm serious. It's hammered. One sip. I'm like, oh my God, I need my hash and eggs. I gotta get them.
Who drove you home?
Sherilyn.
All right, good. Do not drink and drive.
Never have.
Good.
Won't.
No.
Good.
But
It's an easy thing to prevent. And just don't get in the car. But-
yeah. Well, of course it's an easy, but we don't do. We're humans, man.
Well, especially once you start drinking, then you lose your
Yeah.
ability to make that.
Hold my
smart
beer.
decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm
this is
going.
so the day before Lent begins is when we go out on the balcony, take our shirts off, flash the boobs,
And get beads for doing so.
get bead necklaces for
So
doing
really,
so.
really cheap form of prostitution, I guess. A
Yes,
mild,
thank
mild
you.
entry level prostitution.
Right.
Exchange sexual pleasure for
And then begin Lent
commodities. Yeah.
right after that.
Well, that's what Jesus did, right?
I
That was
don't
what
know.
he set up in the New Testament.
I don't know, but it's what's amazing is we say that we never talk about
You could
politics.
get a shit ton of beads. More than me,
We
even.
never talk about politics and religion.
You
on
can
Aired
get a
Out.
shit ton of
Really?
beads. More than me.
Until Paul shows up. That's all Paul talks about.
Oh, you think I could get more beads than you?
Yes, I know you could get more beads than me.
God.
It's awkward.
Oh my God. Oh God. What else is happening?
You never know what you're gonna hear from us.
What else is happening in this world?
All kinds of great things. These guys.
Yes.
and
Can
they
we
have
talk
their
about them?
own This, and they have some huge stuff going on.
Have you ever tried this, Paul?
What is it?
No, it's
Keep
coffee,
moving
and
it.
Paul
I
does
can't
not
read it.
drink coffee.
Trying to get around the microphone stand and where you keep moving it. I'm never going to read it.
It's coffee,
Oh,
and
look at
Paul
this.
does
Shows up
Paul
on the
does
thing.
not drink coffee.
This is Jenna's promise. Do they have a clue of how much we talk about them?
I think so.
And that's
I
why their
think
business
so.
is doing so poorly. So they are aware that you talk about them.
They're doing great,
They're
actually.
kicking ass. They're kicking ass.
That is the Huxley. That is the Associated General Contractors of Vermont. It's their, they made
The
that
contractor
coffee.
blend.
The contractor blend.
Does he know who
specific for
Jenna's
them.
promise is?
I know what it is.
Of course he does. And
Everybody's
and
making their own coffees
The
these days.
Associated General Contractors happens
Their
to be
own blend.
also one of our presenting sponsors, and they are huge supporters of Jenna's Promise, as are we. So it's awesome that we have both of them. And
When are we going to have our own blend?
Just open up
What's
several.
going
You
on
got
here?
4 different coffees on your desk here. Open them up,
Actually-
pour them in a container, and write JD.
I
sell it.
believe that we
Could.
were
You
offered through Blue Line Roasting to have our own blend.
We should do
Aired
that.
out.
What the hell are
And
we
we
waiting
could
for?
Sell it right here at the studio.
Jesus, we got to do that. We have to do that. What else is happening? Is there anything else going on? Really?
Talk about my book. Tell people to buy my book.
Yes. Let's talk about your book right now.
I saw the ad for that yesterday, actually.
I just so happen to have a copy right here next to me. Please ask me how much of it I have read. Please.
I don't want to ask you.
He read the first 3 pages and the last 2, and he's guessing the middle for now.
That's how I wrote it. I guessed the middle.
Are you serious? You're such an ass.
What is wrong with you? No, I wrote it, but somewhere around the I don't know, second, like the last third of it or something like that. I don't know. I had taken a few weeks off in between writing, and then when I started writing again, I wrote it. The character is very different, and so I got to the end of it, and then when I went back to read it for editing, I was reading through it, and I got between this one chapter and another, and I realized I messed this up real bad.
Really?
This is not the same character I had in the last chapter. And so it was unfortunate because I liked the ending and I wanted to keep the ending, but it didn't make sense with the way I started writing it. And so then I had to bridge that. And that was actually a lot of fun. I said, okay, here's where I was. and here's where I want to get to, and so now I need to change this middle part, and I had to dump and rewrite a couple chapters. It was interesting.
Where do we find Never Trust a Zombie?
Amazon. It's for sale on Amazon, paperback. It's $10.83. That's the cheapest I can set it for. So don't tell me I'm trying to gouge or anything like that. I think it's expensive for a first-time writer's first book, but that's the cheapest I can sell it for. It's print on demand. So Amazon, when you order it, they'll print it. There's no publisher, there's no back copies or anything like that. They print it and they send it to you. And so they got to take their printing costs and their royalties. And it's also available for ebook, their Kindle, Amazon Kindle. It's $2.99 for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Zombies may be loved,
Oh, don't read that.
but they are not lovable. What is this about?
It started out as a joke. So originally, this was 10 years ago. This is the 10-year anniversary. That's why I'm making a thing about this. My intention is to sell 10,000 copies of that this year, which is just an outlandish number I just picked out of nowhere. I've sold 0 copies over the last 3 years, but I sold 4 so far in the last 2 weeks. So we're already on the way. But it's just I'm testing out the law of attraction and stuff. And all right, so 10 years ago, this very day. Perhaps. I don't know. It was sometime in February, 10 years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine about, I want to write another book because I just written a couple things and I wanted to write, but I hadn't written a novel yet. I wanted to write a novel, and so we're talking, brainstorming ideas. And he said, you should write about the psychology of why people like zombies so much. And I said, that's not really my thing. I don't want to write nonfiction. And plus, Dr. Michael Britt, who had the Psych Files podcast, it was like the first podcast I ever listened to. He wrote a little ebook about the fascination of I think it was called The Psychology of Zombie Fascination, and that's available on Amazon. But because that was the time when The Walking Dead was really big, and so zombies were real popular at the time. And I don't like zombie movies and stuff because of the gore. I like the survival element of it, but I don't like the gory parts. And so I wasn't really into doing a zombie thing. But my friend told me I should do that, and then there's a guy, Ned Hickson. He's a journalist and a humor columnist in Oregon, I think. And I was following his blog, and he had done a guest post on somebody else's literary blog. It was a fake review of a book, the next book in the Twilight series. So it was not a real book. And so we introduced a zombie character in that. And in the comment section, I said someone should make a spin-off for that zombie guy. And he said, go ahead. And I said, all right. And so I said, give me a week. And it took me 6 months, but I wrote a book. So initially, it was going to be a parody of Twilight, but then I realized I'd have to reread the Twilight books, which I had read them before, but I'd have to reread them to actually write a solid parody, and I didn't want to read them again. Parody takes a lot of work. I didn't want to do work. I just want to write a book. So I wrote a book.
You wrote this in how many months?
3, and then it took 3 months to edit it, and I published it October 31st in 2013.
Oh my God.
Read it first. So it's not impressive until you read it, if it's even impressive, because anybody can write a book. It doesn't have to be good. So yeah, it took me 6 months to complete it, but is it good? That's what you got to read it and find out. I don't know, but so one of my things I'm doing to get it out again is on my YouTube channel. I'm reading the book, and it's really, really uncomfortable to read my book aloud, and I'm really judgmental of it now when I hear it, because I've read it before and I like it. I think it's entertaining. It's worth reading. But I'm reading it out loud, and I'm like, there's continuity errors already in the first chapter, and it's just written so poorly, and these people keep saying the same things, and it's interesting to see, like 10 years later, to see how I wrote it and whatever, and it's goofy, but reading it out loud, and I'm terrible at reading out loud, and so while I'm reading it, I feel like I'm putting some kind of like emotion into it or expression, and then I listen back to it, and it's just like monotone robot, and that's why I was commenting on the third chapter, reading of the third chapter. So each chapter I'm doing one video on. The third chapter is going to be posted tonight on YouTube.
Really?
And but I was commenting in the show notes that it sounds like a robot, but an AI robot can actually express more, put more emotion into reading than I can. So it'd be better if I just had AI reading my book. But it's pretty fun. I don't know.
I love this.
I like it.
I love.
You got to create things. You got to enjoy yourself and create things. It doesn't matter. You can't do it for anybody else. You just got to do it for you.
You know, now I've got pressure to read 3 books all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So
Well, don't feel pressure.
Yeah.
I won't talk to you anymore if you don't. But I mean, I'll come on the show and we'll pretend like we're friends, but I won't talk to you outside here ever again if you don't read my book.
You know,
that goes for everybody.
Sherilyn watches this British show at night, and that's just the opportunity for me to put the earbuds in, the readers on, and open up a book so that, Because I can't understand what they're saying on this British TV show.
Right, they're speaking a different language.
It's a whole different language.
Yeah.
You know.
Who's this guy? But you said British. That reminded me with the same thing on when the book. So you posted yesterday or 2 days ago on or maybe you did, just the aired out thing with the guy that wrote the book in Montpelier.
I posted it, and then I think he posted it as well.
So last week,
he
it was
posted it
a week ago
yesterday.
Monday. It was my first, or maybe it was Sunday, but it was a week ago. I was doing the scrolling the Google News feed, and there was an article from the BBC, something about author published book, 14 years, no success, goes viral. And so this is my intention for this year, right?
Her TikTok.
Yeah, it's TikTok. But this is my intention for this year is to sell my book. I haven't done anything within 10 years. And so I saw the title and I was like, oh, I read this. So I read the article. It's BBC. I'm thinking it's somewhere in England or something. And I'm reading the article. And so it's, the guy wrote a book 14 years ago, hasn't really had any sales, hadn't done anything with it. His 16-year-old daughter puts a TikTok video up saying, please buy my dad's book. It would make his dreams come true. And then the next day he's an Amazon bestseller. I'm like, man, this guy stole my thing. My intentions manifest his reality. And then I see it's Montpelier, Vermont. I'm like, oh, great. But so I get immediately envious. That's my first response, right? But I don't want to be there. I don't want to stay there. So I catch myself in that and say, oh, this is no good. I don't want to feel this way. I got to be happy for him. Radical change. He talks about that. Joy for other people's experiences because we're all one. We're all experiencing this stuff together. And I've had this before, like when I was watching Major League Baseball a couple years ago after I read that book, and I'm like, man, those guys got the life. They're just playing baseball and getting paid millions of dollars. It's supposed to be fun. And then I was thinking, I don't have to do it to experience the joy from it. I can watch these guys and they're smiling, playing the game, and I can have joy vicariously through them. And the same thing with music. Like I'd love to play a rock and roll, like a concert, like a huge venue, like a stadium. I would love to play that one time. Just be so cool to hit the guitar and feel the sound, that massive scale. It'd be fun. But then I can watch other bands I like play and feel the joy for them. And so I remembered that and I said, okay, I'm going to feel joy for this guy over Montpelier who sold all these books. It's great. It doesn't mean that I can't do it. And so my initial fear, the scarcity, we look at things through this, there's not enough, there's lack, there's scarcity rather than abundance. So fear and scarcity and lack or love and abundance and appreciation. And so I catch myself in this envy and think, no, just because he experienced this doesn't mean I can't experience this. There's like only a few books that are able to be sold, and because he sold his, I can't sell mine. Doesn't mean that at all. Maybe this was an indication from the universe that it's possible for me to do exactly what I'm intending to do.
A message to you.
Yeah. And so it's all about how we look at these things. But so I'm really happy for the guy, even though initially I was envious.
I think you should be trying to sell this book during the Heritage Festival, and I think someone ought to be talking with you about getting you up on stage and performing during the Heritage Festival.
I'm not really into the I don't know. The live music thing is
performing?
tough because so the last couple months, all I've been doing, I don't even know my songs. It's kind of weird. But
You're
like
a studio
if you
guy.
gave me a guitar right now and said go play a song, I probably couldn't do it. I could probably play some of my songs from like 15 years ago that I've been playing off and on for years. But when I was in a band, we played multiple times in a week. We'd rehearse a couple days a week, and so these songs. Used to know all kinds of songs. I knew my songs, other people's songs. And then I stopped playing in a band, and you don't play as often. And then even when I was in college and I wrote my first album on my own there, I was playing those songs every day because I was playing guitar every day. But then as life goes on and stuff, I don't play guitar every day anymore. And in these last few years, it's been recording music and writing new music. I'm not writing it for the intent to play it out. And that's I discovered that was something important in the process. So I'm also doing an album with my sister. And so those songs have never been played, like never been performed all together. Like she wrote them, she wrote the songs and then recorded herself playing guitar and singing them and then sent me that, and then I took that and then turned it into like a full band thing with using MIDI drums and then playing guitars and recording it all together, and then I take that back and then she sings on top of it.
What are you using, like Pro Tools or?
I use GarageBand iOS
Okay.
for Apple stuff. It's on my iPad. It's free. And so we put these things together in pieces, but we've never actually performed. Like we don't sit down. Like some of the songs we have, but we don't sit down and play the song and she sings it and work through it that way. And I realized that that's an important part of the writing process, where you discover like how to perform the song and what way it works best. So you actually have to play it a whole lot of times before you become super comfortable with it. And so some of the stuff I've written, like some of the lead guitar parts and stuff, that's maybe first or second take, and you can tell because I've never been real polished. I don't want to take the time to. I just want to get it on the recording.
I
I don't want to play the same 30 seconds of riff for 40 times. I'll play it. I'll try and get most of the bugs out, but there's still some little parts that's not perfect, but it's good enough for me. But that's the only time I played it. My point. So like I couldn't. I don't even know how to. Like I have to listen to the song and relearn it if I want to play it again. I don't even know my own songs.
Bring a copy of that.
It's on Spotify. Go on Spotify right now.
Yeah.
Or YouTube. YouTube. Paul Brodie Music Topic. What's it called? Paul Brodie Topic or something like that. But the new album is new right now.
I want to wrap things up here on this Tuesday morning. But Raylene, tomorrow is the final Wellness Wednesday over on Summer Street.
Yes, it is. And so make your appointments. You have to reserve appointments for everything, I believe, except for the ear acupuncture.
Okay.
So make your reservations, see what's left open. I believe the massage is already full.
Okay.
Not surprised by that. But tomorrow is the final of this round.
Have you been over there yet, Paul?
Where?
I will
Wellness
break.
Wednesdays?
I will break your legs
I meet with clients.
if you don't go over there
I
on
meet with clients
Wellness
till
Wednesday.
6 or 7 every night. What am I supposed to do?
You need to get up and you need to go
When
over
you
there.
sell 100,000 copies of my book and I can retire from counseling, I will go to all the Wellness Wednesdays that ever exist.
I'm telling you, man, this dude over there, Balin Sky, who is the acupuncturist, you're gonna love this dude. You're
sure
gonna
I
love
will.
this guy. So that's going on tomorrow. The American Legion Tuesday night meal is tonight. Dine in, take out. 5:30 it starts, and bingo's going to be right after it.
Bingo starts at 6.
All right. 479-9058 to make a reservation for the food tonight. But support the American Legion. Go out tonight and
Tonight at the Aldrich Library, there's the elementary school art thing starts tonight.
thank you for
5:30,
mentioning that.
6:30.
Oh, yes.
I was just going to mention that. And Lily is one of the featured artists.
Yeah, one
Is
of my
your
daughters
kid?
is in it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Abby.
She's one of the
First grade.
featured
Yeah,
artists.
she got an art thing in there.
That's
Really?
awesome.
So I'll see you tonight.
I love
Perhaps.
that
I
they
got an
do
appointment till
that.
6, so I don't know if I guess I'll go over there after that.
All right. Yeah, isn't that great? Lily's freaking out. She's excited. She gets to wear this little pin that says featured artist.
Yeah.
Abby does too, right?
It is awesome. And Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
Gustos.
Taco Tuesday. Whew, don't forget. Jeez.
There you go. You can go have dinner before you go to the art show
Mm-hmm.
at the library.
Thank you for coming in. Thanks for having some fun with us. The next couple of days is going to be snowy here. When does it start again? Tomorrow night? Tomorrow night. All right. So we'll have more information tomorrow morning. We don't know if Tom Lozon will be with us tomorrow morning
No,
or
I'll
not.
let you know in a little while.
All right.
Yeah.
Also, we have Jack, who is going to be joining us on the air at some point really soon to talk about sports. So that might be happening here any day now. So buckle up. I'm looking forward to this work week. I really am, because my heart is filled with love
Perfect.
because of reading A Radical Change. I love you guys. Thank you for coming in. Look at the look on Raylene's face. Wow. Thank you all. And we'll catch you soon.
Have a great day, everyone.